Hello and welcome to Legal Aid Society's Facebook Live for the evening of March 24th, 2022. I am Zach Oswald. I'm the managing attorney at the Legal Aid Society in Gallatin, Tennessee, and also the lead attorney for our firm's housing practice group. And I am excited to have with me Miss Tommy Robb, who is an Equal Justice Works Fellow from International Paper via the Tennessee Alliance for Legal Services, and also doing housing and criminal re-entry work for the Legal Aid Society. Tommy, tell everybody how you're doing this evening.
I'm doing great. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us.
We're going to be talking a little bit tonight about what Legal Aid Society is, what Legal Aid Society does, and then we're going to specifically hone in on what the status is of evictions going on today. And we're going to talk about a resource that's available for people, specifically emergency rental assistance. We're going to talk about what that is, how you can secure it, and how landlords and tenants both can benefit from this program to keep tenants housed and to make sure that landlords are repaid for any rent that they may not have been able to get while their tenants were suffering because of COVID-19. So it's something that really is kind of synergistic. It's going to get everybody back, everybody square, and we're going to try and help you all figure out that program tonight. Starting out by talking about Legal Aid Society, our mission is to enforce, advance, and defend the legal rights of low-income individuals. We do that by securing basic elements of safety, stability, and security. We are the largest nonprofit in Middle Tennessee with about 40 attorneys covering 48 counties. And we have 8 offices throughout Middle Tennessee that serve up to about 440,000 individuals who fall beneath the federal poverty line. We also help people regardless of income if they are domestic violence victims or if they're seniors over 60 in certain counties. What areas do we serve? We've got the map here that show you where our 8 offices are. As you look to see where you are in the state of Tennessee, you can see whether or not you're going to be contacting our Columbia office or our Cookeville office. So take a look at the colored grid. And if you're not in those areas, we're going to talk about some other organizations that you can contact throughout the state to not only help you with the things that Legal Aid Society does, but also to help you with the topic that we're talking about tonight, and that's housing. What are the areas of law that Legal Aid Society practices? They're listed on the left, but I can kind of narrow it down for you to 5 essential elements. It's family law, health and benefits, as well as education, employment law, housing law, and consumer protection law. And those 5 elements are really going to encompass everything that's on the left side of the screen there. Before we get started tonight, we want to remind everybody that the information that's provided today is not intended to be legal advice. It's going to be for informational purposes only. And using this page, placing a comment in the box does not create a client relationship with you in legal aid. And this is only information. If you want to have more information about your specific legal aid case, you're going to need to call us and go through our intake process. Thank you so much for being here, though, and we want to make sure that we're going to even give you as much information as possible. So we do encourage you to go ahead and ask questions. Just know that if I say, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to ask that because it's so specific this evening, that's going to be okay. So why am I watching the stream tonight? Well, the first is that in the chat, you're going to see a link come up for our COVID-19 rental relief brochure. And that's going to be kind of the truncated version of what we're going to talk about tonight. It's going to talk about this program that allows tenants that are behind on rent or landlords who have tenants who are behind on rent to be able to catch up, to be able to get those resources that are available throughout the state. What are we going to be talking about? Primarily, we're going to be talking about the Tennessee Housing Development Agency's COVID-19 rental relief program. We're going to tell you what it does, who can apply, and how does it help with evictions. We're also going to talk, as you see when we go through, we're going to talk about the 4 other programs that exist throughout Tennessee for rent relief. So if you're in Davidson County, Rutherford County, Knox County, and Shelby County, the THDA program is not going to be the appropriate program for you, but just hang on with me for a few minutes and we're going to get to the programs that are going to help you as well. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Tommy. Oh, no, I'm not. One last place we're gonna say several times tonight that if you're having problems either with the rent relief application, or if you're in the middle of the eviction process and you think this is really an emergent, exigent situation, I need to talk to somebody now, go ahead and call legal aid, go through our intake process, see if we can get you an attorney to help. And these are the local office numbers that we're giving you on the screen right now. And just so anybody knows, if you're trying to call legal aid and you don't know exactly which office is the right one for you, you want to call in, you can dial our 1-800 number, which is 1-800-238-1443. We're going to put that in the chat for you. When you call that number, it's going to ask for your zip code. When you put in your zip code, it's going to direct you to the office that you're going to be speaking with. So either way that you need to get a hold of us, you can go to that full number. You can go to www.las.org, or you can also come to some of our clinics that are coming up. We've got a couple at the end of the month. These are in-person opportunities for you to come and speak to a lawyer for free. We've got one coming up on Saturday, the 26th, from 8:30 to 11 at Vanderbilt University, and also for veterans only, we've got one at Operation Stand Down in Nashville next Tuesday, March 30th from 11 to 1. I mentioned before, legal aid only covers 48 counties in the state. There are 95 counties in the state. So if you're looking for help and you are in the Memphis area, you're going to contact Memphis area legal services if you're in that Shelby County area. And also the one county north of it that starts with a D. Tommy, and I always forget it. Do you happen to know it off the top of your head?
I do not.
I may pull that here in just a second. A little bit east of that, you're going to contact West Tennessee Legal Services all the way to Legal Aid service area. And then when you're going out far east in the state, you're going to contact Legal Aid of East Tennessee. If you can't get help from those, there are some other options for you. There's Tennessee Justice Center, which is located in Nashville, but helps out statewide, and especially will help with health and benefits issues. But certainly if you've got a legal issue, you can contact Tennessee Justice Center and talk to them. Renterdefender.org. This is a new web bot that's available for renters that are having problems that has been created by the Tennessee Alliance for Legal Services. You can ask it questions and very often get answers to your legal questions via a chat bot, which is a nice way to kind of get started. And at the end of that, if the chat bot says, listen, I think you need some more information, it's going to link you to the place where you might be able to get more services. Help for TN is a hotline that you can call in and you can get advice from an attorney. I see tnfreelegalanswers.org is a very similar service. It's a free legal hotline, but instead of being a phone line, it's actually an email service that you can do. If you're dealing with immigration issues or status issues, there's also some final places for you to look. There's the Tennessee Immigration and Refugee Rights Coalition, more commonly known as TIRC. And then there's Justice for Our Neighbors. All that information is there for you. All right. I was early on it a couple different times, but for real this time, we're going to get started talking about COVID-19 rental relief. And I will leave you all to the musings of Miss Tommy Robb.
Thanks. So we want to get into the COVID-19 rental relief program, which has been put in place during the pandemic for people who need, obviously, help with rental relief. So what do you need to know about this program? One thing that I wanted to get out for you is that it goes by several different names, sometimes depending on what agency you might be speaking with. If you're calling a local office for help, they may tell you about ERAP, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. They may say it's a Tennessee Housing Program, THDA for short, or it's a CVRR, the COVID Rental Relief Program. Those are all the same program. So it's all the same website, it's the same application. So if you feel like you're getting information that's a little confusing, you don't have to remember these names or these acronyms, but just know that that's all one thing. And that is the program that we're telling you about tonight from Tennessee Housing. It will pay as much as 12 months of past due rent. So what the program does is it will go back for past due rent, anything from March 2020 forward, because it's under a COVID rental relief. So it goes back to the time when this first came about. So you can go back and get 12 months of past due rent, and that's going to include late fees, could even possibly include attorney's fees for as much as 12 months. And then it will also, the system will put you in for the current 3 months. So what you can do is put in and reapply up until you get to the point that you've used 15 months worth of the program. or until the funds run out, or until September of this year. So continue to go in and reapply if need be until you get maxed out at that 15 months.
Tommy, if I'm behind on rent, and I also would like to access, these future months that are available, how is THDA going to determine how they're going to make those payments? Are they going to pay my arrearage first? Are they going to pay forward first? How does that happen?
They will pay the arrearage first.
Great. And what if I'm not behind on rent? Can I still go ahead and apply?
If you are not behind on rent, but you feel that there is a possibility that you are going to get behind on rent, still please go ahead and apply. This is not only for people who are presently behind, it is also for people who are at any sort of risk of what we call housing instability. So if you're going to fall behind, if that's a concern, go ahead and put in that application, and THDA will review you for the current month and 2 upcoming months. So who does this program help? It helps renters and it helps landlords. So if you are a renter and you put in an application, they're going to reach out to the landlord to verify that information. If you're a landlord and you put in an application, they're going to reach out to the renter to verify the information. The payments do go directly to the rental company, or to the landlord, or to the utility company. So that's one of the ways that it can also try to help to prevent an eviction. If you're to the point that you have received an eviction notice, please still apply. You can let your landlord know, or you can even let the court know, I've got an application out for rental relief to pay all of this past due rent, to pay all of the late fees, to get me caught up. The court may give you a continuance, or your landlord may work with you. If you need help with negotiations, if you need help that you already have an eviction notice for your home, please do reach out to legal aid after you've filed your application, and we'll see if we can help you with that process. So who does it help? Again, no matter how far behind you are or what state you're in right now, please do still apply, so long as you are eligible for the program. The eligibility requirements are that you be a renter in Tennessee, which you probably are if you are watching this. That your household income is at or below 80% of the area median income for your county. And we're going to go over area median income on the next slide, so just hang in there with me for a minute on what that means. The household must have past due rent or utilities, or have received a notice to vacate or an eviction notice, or be at risk of falling behind, or have been eligible for unemployment anytime since March of 2020, or be on unemployment at this time. So if you are, again, if you're behind now or at risk of becoming behind, it's just any one of these things. It doesn't have to be any combination. You don't have to have any type of notice to apply. And also that the household has experienced a COVID-19 related loss in income, increased expenses, or any other financial hardship. So to be COVID related, it doesn't necessarily mean that you or anyone in the house had COVID, but and perhaps you did. Maybe you have medical expenses for that, but maybe you have increased childcare costs due to COVID, or your office closed down due to COVID, so your hours were reduced. The type of work that you were doing couldn't be done at the same level, anything of that sort, so long as there is some sort of connection to COVID.
Now, Tommy, you said this was okay if you didn't get COVID, but nobody in my family got COVID, but I had to stay home with my kids while they were doing virtual learning. Would I still qualify for this program?
Yes, that would be kind of what I was saying as a child care related expense. But if you've had to take time off, so maybe you didn't necessarily pay for daycare or babysitting, but you weren't earning that income while you had to be at home because your children had to be at home. So that is definitely a COVID related reduction in income or increased expense.
I had a cousin, his main source of income is actually driving for Uber and DoorDash. But obviously people were not using Uber during COVID-19. And so he wasn't making as much money as he was beforehand. Do you think that THDA would accept that as a reason why he might qualify for rent relief?
Yes, I do. That is, again, reduced hours. That is directly come out of the pandemic. If no one can go anywhere because you're on lockdown or everyone's out of work, then there's no one to take. So that is still connected.
Thank you. It sounds like this is really broad, and what you're really encouraging is that anybody who thinks that they can touch on why COVID affected them over the last couple of years should just go ahead and try to apply.
Yes. Also, if you're concerned about any of the eligibility items, when you log into the website, literally the first page is going to walk you through yes or no questions, and as well as the area median income that I'm going to talk about in just a second. But if you think I might be eligible and I'm not sure, you want to log in and walk through that process. It's no harm, no foul for trying to make sure if you have any questions about that. But please, if you think that you're going to meet these qualifications, please apply. So area median income, there is a set amount for each county. And again, on that first page where it's giving you the yes or no's for the eligibility, those questions, it actually is going to have a drop down list of every county in the state, and it's going to pull that amount up for you. But just to give an example of the differences between the counties, so say for instance, Davidson County for four-person income or four-person household, that income amount is going to be $67,450. And then for some place it's a little bit more rural, Cumberland County, a four-person household, that amount is $45,100. So it's going to be localized. That's why it's county by county. And again, if you'll use that drop-down menu, it's going to pull your county up and tell you exactly what it is. So you're not going to be required to figure that out on your own or to pull that information.
And in just a second in the chat, you're going to see the link to the website to go ahead and start the application process. After you register, like Tommy said, one of the very first pages that you're going to see is a drop down that says, what county are you in and where can I see what my area median income is for my household size?
Okay, so who are the included counties? Zach said earlier, it's 91 of our 95 counties that are doing the statewide Tennessee Housing Program. So there are 4 counties who chose to administer the program themselves. So it's just a little bit more localized, and that is Davidson County, Knox County, Rutherford County, and Shelby County. And our helper is going to drop all of those websites into the chat for us. For Davidson County, if you have previously tried to apply to that and said, oh, they've closed down, they did reopen their applications on January 18th. So if you've tried that before and weren't able to get in, it is back open now. Please do apply. Knox County is open. Rutherford County also had to close down for a little while just to get caught up. They reopened their applications February 9th. So please go back into there. And Shelby County is only processing existing applications right now unless you are facing court eviction. So if you're in Shelby County, you have a notice of eviction, you get on the website, it'll say, we're only processing current applications. But if you'll click on through that, it will let you proceed to I am facing an eviction, and you can still go ahead and put that application in. So where do I apply? As Zach said, we've put the link in the chat for the THDA website. And if you can see on here, the link is HORN. So when you see HORN on there, don't let that throw you. It still is the THDA program. It'll say neighborly across the screen. That still is the THDA program. If you Google rent relief THDA, that's going to come up, or the local county programs, rent relief, Davidson County, that's going to come up. So if you want to Google it, or if you want to take the link out of the chat right now, either way, to get to that website, the full application is on there. You can fill it out on your phone. You can upload documents straight from your phone. They accept screenshots. So if you don't have a scanner, you don't have PDFs, that's okay. You can just get the documentation, take a picture of it. Do make sure that it's clear and legible and that you can see all 4 corners of whatever document, and you can upload it straight from your phone. What do I need to apply? Early on in the application, when you log in, there's a very long page. It lists a lot of documents of what you need to apply. And a lot of that is giving examples, and that's why there's so many of them. You don't need all of those items. You need a valid ID. You need proof of income, which can be as much as you can do what they call a self-attestation of your income. So depending on your work situation, if maybe you haven't filed a tax return, maybe you don't have a regular paycheck, but you can still verify your income by attesting. You can do proof of past rental payments. again, if you haven't paid, if the last time you were able to pay your rent was December and that's the most recent rent receipt you have, that's fine. You just want to upload that. A copy of your lease. If you don't have a copy of that lease, THDA will reach out to the landlord and request a copy from them. If you're in a situation where there's never been a formal lease, maybe it's just an oral agreement, you've been living there, you pay, you live there, everybody knows that, but you didn't write it down. That's fine. You can do an attestation again, and they'll ask the landlord to verify that you live there and you pay rent there. A copy of your utility bill if you are applying for utility assistance. An eviction notice if you have one. Again, you don't have to have one to apply, but if you do, they're going to ask you to upload that. And if you don't have any of those, please just reach out to THDA and give them a call about self-certification if you need any help with that.
Tommy, do you happen to know that number for calling THDA if I'm having trouble applying and need to self-certify or anything like that?
I do not have that phone number. It is on the front page of that application, but we can probably get it put into the chat before we get off of here.
All right. I think that actually is going to be the next number we're going to see in the chat there. It is the COVID rent relief hotline for THDA. And those hours are every day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you're going to see 844-500-1112.
Thank you. So what else do I need? In regard to verifying your income, there are some standalone verifications that THDA will accept. So if you are in any of the programs on the screen, if you're in SNAP, if you receive SSI, if you will upload your most recent certification letter from those organizations, that will stand in as proof of income. So you don't have to worry about tax returns or paycheck stubs. They'll accept that. But this is not an all-inclusive list, meaning that there could be programs that aren't on here that they will accept. They're looking for any state or even a local program. So if you're a part of any sort of assistance program that sends you certification letters based on your income, please do go ahead and upload that. That could be all you need for income verification. And do we have any questions?
Tommy, I haven't seen any questions come up in the chat, but I'm going to give our backstage moderator just a couple seconds to make sure. And what we want to remind people of tonight, especially, is that you're not going through this alone. If you need help applying for rent relief, if you're in the middle of the eviction process and you want to know, hey, what are my rights? How can I get this help? Contact Legal Aid to see if we can help you. You're going to dial that number that we gave you all the way up at the beginning, 1-844-238-1443, to see if Legal Aid can help you. And aside from that, we don't have any questions. And so we are not going to keep you all tonight. We hope that this information has been incredibly helpful. Make sure and check out the brochure at our website, www.las.org. And I want to thank Tommy for being able to bring this information to everybody tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.